men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have a list this morning of the 6 best doctors in the world. Listen to this. Number 1, sunlight. You need to be out in the sun. Number 2, rest. You need to get a good night's rest. Number 3, exercise. You need to do something every day. Number 4, diet. Watch what you eat. We'll skip over that for a while. And then number 5, self-confidence. I have self-confidence. You should too. Know what you do and do it well. And number 6, and possibly the most important doctor to all of us, our friends. God bless our friends. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Wednesday. Good morning on a Wednesday, a beautiful morning outside. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, we've got to have a patriot, a real live patriot, doing our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Jerry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, you did a fine job. Thank you, Jerry. God bless you, man. Have a great day.
Yep, may the Lord bless you and all your people.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice man right there. Time for the weather. I can't wait to hear this weather forecast. Brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Good people, Roger and the crew. Open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturday 7 to 2. They've got everything, all your tools and equipment. My goodness, everything from forklifts all the way to lawnmowers. And they'll deliver and pick up the power tools and heavy equipment at your site. And I'll tell you what they know. They have all the experience and the knowledge, and they've been in business since 1979. K&R Rental. Right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Well, going to be warm and windy. This is your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. For today, looking like sunshine, highs around 93. Now, the wind is going to be a factor, looking for gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Then for tonight, mostly clear, lows around 55. Still going to be having that wind. Then for tomorrow, looking for sunshine, 87, and wind gusts around 21 miles an hour. For Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low of 54. Now, Friday, 20% chance of showers, maybe a little thunderstorms afternoon, partly sunny and a high near 74. And then for Friday night, still that chance of showers hanging around, a low of 46. Saturday, a small chance of showers and a high of 64. That's your 7th Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Attaboy, Scotty. Thank you so much. And brought to you by K&R Rental. These are good people. And I'll tell you what, you're doing a lot of chores, getting things fixed up for the summertime. Well, by golly, if you need equipment and tools, they've got it all right there at K&R Rental in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Get on the phone, stop over and see them at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. K&R Rental. Oh, my goodness sakes, we got a lot of things cooking on the program this morning. And give you a rundown, we're going to have, hopefully, I've learned my lesson. Hopefully at 9:15, we'll have United States Senator Mike Crapo calling in. And then at 9:30, Dave Bigo from Indianapolis, Indiana. 10:06, we're going to have an old standby that's a really dear, dear friend. Jack Euler's going to be calling in. And we're going to find out about a business at 10:30 that absolutely is worldwide known and respected, and it's right here less than maybe 10 miles from my place. And sometimes right next to your elbow, you won't see what's laying on the table. Well, by golly, we're going to have Dusty Stanley from Stanley Premium Western Forage on our program. Going to be interesting. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, I'll take a moment here and tell you about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. And they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. And I said cooling because it's going to get hot, and you want your air conditioner to work efficiently. Well, get it some new air filters. You can buy them by the case of 12, get discount pricing. You better check it out today. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. By the way, yesterday, Deanna and I, we had one meal. We had one meal, and that was breakfast. And that wasn't very big. It was just a bowl of cereal. And then we got so wrapped up in all the things that were going on and everything during the day. And then we had company over last night. We didn't eat anything, and we were starving to death this morning. And I wished I could have run over to Denny's restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time at America's Diner. And I know I'd have just flipped that page of the menu right over to the breakfast section and said, yep, bring it on. I'll tell you what, the food is delicious. The people are fantastic at Denny's restaurant. 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, America's Diner. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One of the most repulsive groups that has started up in America today, and I wish them nothing but failure, is the Black Lives Matter group. They are nothing more than a bunch of mobsters. They are nothing more than troublemakers. They are nothing more than segregationists. They are nothing more than divisive to create more racial disparity and problems in America. I absolutely detest these people. Now, I hope I've made that point clear. They've come out over the last 2 days, and these despicable lowlifes are coming out to say that you and I and everybody else should boycott the National Football League games this fall. You want to know why? Because the Black Lives Matter nitwits, are saying that the NFL and players in the NFL are too pro-Trump. Let me seed the clouds with that again. The BLM, Black Lives Matter, bunch of despicable mobsters and troublemakers are coming out with a concentrated effort saying that we should boycott the NFL, watching their games, going to their games, or supporting the NFL because they are too pro-Trump. Oh, I just every day you turn on the news, you hear more idiots, more segregationists, more dividing in our country, more hatred by people that still can't accept that their lousy liberal ways, and I want to repeat that again, their lousy liberal ways were not accepted by the American public, and they did not win the last election. The Black Lives Matter, like I said a moment ago, is nothing more than mob rule and hate. And I don't even think they should be given any time for interviews on the radio or television or in newspapers. Quite frankly, if they demanded airtime on my program, I'd tell them to hit the road jack. They would not be allowed on my show. And if we started, now think about this for just a few minutes this morning. If we started any kind of a cause that would be for white lives matter, I can guarantee you that if I got on the air tomorrow morning and said we're going to have the first chapter meeting of the White Lives Matter, Magic Valley section and chapter at such and such a place on such and such a date, we would be called racist and bigoted, and they would be after us. But not so with Black Lives Matter. You know, look at what's going on in professional sports today, and how dare they, the Black Lives Matter, be so stupid. I would venture to say that on the National Football League teams, and I'll stand behind this figure until somebody proves me wrong, that between 85 and 88%, and it might even be higher than that, are strictly black players. There is now a very disparaging percentage of whites in the NFL. Now take that also to the NBA. Take it to the NBA and look at the benches, look at the starting lineups, most all black players. But that's not good enough for them. They want more. They want entirety. They want totality. And as far as the Black Lives Matter movement is concerned, it's one of idiocy, it's one of hate, it's one of segregationist activities, and it's one of bigotry. And they should not be given airtime anytime. The only reason I mentioned this morning is so you and I and everybody else can be aware of their low-life schemes that they're trying to promote. You know what's the bad part about it is they're going to get money from the Soroses. They're going to get money from the Tom Steyers. They're going to get money to promote their idiotic and very clandestine causes. It's a shame. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, I need you to boost up the feed coming down the line to me a little bit, if you would, please. Just a tad, if you would, please, sir. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts at 3 locations, South Lincoln in Jerome and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, along with 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Big sandbox out behind the location. You can try out all the equipment, and they do have all the equipment to get the job done right. They've got all the Bobcat excavators, all shapes and sizes, and believe me, when it comes to equipment rentals and retail equipment sales, they're ready to serve you. Barry Equipment and Rental, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, I'm going to be right with you. Stand by. Don't you get nervous. Have another sip of hot chocolate, coffee, or whatever. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, as my voice gets all of a sudden scratchy, excuse me, at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. You know, if you've overdone it a little bit bunky out working in the yard, or building a new deck for the summer, or working on the garage, or building fence out by the barn, or maybe had an accident, whatever, if you got some sores, aches and pains, whatever, or maybe some joints that need some help, place to go. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Nick Greenwell and the entire physical therapy staff serving you and helping you get back to being you. So give them a call today. 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Caller, good morning.
And good morning to you too, sir.
Yes, sir.
You know, the old saying, be careful what you wish for. Take Iran, for instance. They are now having ISIS attack in there.
Uh-huh.
What's that all about?
Well, personally, I think I'm going to be very blunt with you, Keith. I wouldn't have a worry in the world if they both fought each other into extinction.
Well, I agree with you 100%. But they're the father of terrorism, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And here they are. They're they promoted this and promoted it, and now they're coming back to roost.
You know, what is it about our society today? I've got to ask you a question. Give me a short answer on this because I've got other commercials I got to get in. But what is it about our society today that we are more concerned about the promoter of the crime, like worried about, oh, that poor man, he must have had a rough upbringing as a child, or that poor person, or that poor group. What is it about society today where they're more concerned about the perpetrator of the crime than they are the victims?
Well, first of all, that word society, I don't know what it means anymore. Do you?
Well, as far as a civil society, no, I agree with you. We've lost our civility from politics all the way down the line. I have a tendency to think that we're on a downhill slide and the toboggan is running free will.
But, you know, when you were talking about that in a family, say there's 4 people in the family. Let's just say there's 4 boys. How many of the 4 will follow one way and the others will go another way?
I don't know.
Maybe even a different political party.
Yeah.
We're all different people, and we have different thoughts based on the things that are placed upon us.
Well, right now,
these people in the Middle East, they don't know anything else because nobody has taught them.
And they're never going to be taught. Let's stop right there in the middle of your conversation. They are not going to be taught. They are only known for their warring and their hate and their deceit and their absolute disdain for anything for mankind. I have no compassion for people that can't sit down with any common sense and look and extend a hand of friendship, whereas they want to blow people up, they want to go to schools to learn how to bomb, maim, and kill. I have no time for that. I have no time for those people. I have no time for their ideology.
You know, that's interesting there, because I remember my oldest son growing up, he said, when I grow up, I'm going to be moving to L.A. You know, it's because we're influenced by the beaches and all of these different things. You know, I've been to California many times, and that's not what California is.
No, you're right there. Hey, man, I got to run. Keith, have a great day. Bless you. Thank you for your call. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It is amazing, is it not? Come on, somebody call me on this and make a point on this. It is amazing to me, truly amazing, how many Americans can be so naive and basically stupid about their safety and their family protection. Some actually side with the crazies that are trying to kill us. And I just absolutely cannot understand this. Caller, please bear with me. I'll be right with you. Don't forget this coming Saturday at the Jerome Gun Club on Highway 93. Holy moly! Sportsman's Warehouse is going to have their annual outdoor shooting expo on June 10th, this Saturday from 9 to 4. And they're going to have representatives from the gun companies like Colt, Smith & Wesson, and Glock. And you can try the guns before you buy the guns. You better get over there this Saturday, 9 to 4. And there's the admission is free, and there's a minimal charge for the ammunition. Check it out at the Jerome Gun Club on Highway 93 this Saturday, June 10th. Sportsman's Warehouse Outdoor Shooting Expo. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, the only way we're going to win this thing with ISIS is a world war, a world call to arms with no rules of engagement. If civilians go down, that's fine. Seems like every time there's a big war in this country, we lose more and more of our younger people, and fewer and fewer of people in other countries contribute the bodies of their young people.
Yeah. You know, there are great factions of evil in this world. I remember about 2 years ago, I used the terminology that there is so much evil in our society today, and some people took exception to that, and they didn't like the word evil being used about our society, and I couldn't care less. That's the best way to describe it. When you look at the Black Lives Matter, they are evil. When you look at ISIS and the perpetration of jihadis living in this country and possibly, very possibly, going to do more to harm, maim, and kill right here in the United States, they are evil. They are evil all around the world. Evil is prominent today because people, in my humble opinion, have turned away from the basics of religion and their belief in God, and that's why evil is prevailing.
Well, you know, I often wonder why there isn't a crackdown. We've got so many people in this country that don't belong here, and they've been trained by ISIS waiting for the right time to strike. And then, as far as I know, we've still got these training camps going full blast.
Yeah.
And how many of these people that are in this country that don't belong here are hiding in these training camps?
You know, Tony,
why hasn't anything been done about that?
Yeah, you know, it's so funny, Tony, because you and I have talked about this in regards to Martin Moyer's book, Twilight in America. Bonafide proof that there are jihadi camps all over the United States, Oregon, on our area. I know some in Northern California. I know that they've written stories about most of them appearing in Texas, upper state New York, etc., all across the country. And the naivete of the American public thinking, oh, well, they're just there, they're just tying and weaving baskets together. Baloney, these people are training how to kill. And I don't know why we are so stupid and so naive, because the bad guys are here. The bad guys are here, and they want to change our entire complexion of our country. They want control. They want Sharia law. They want Islamic traditions and their heritage brought here to this country. I don't know why we're so dumb, Tony.
I don't know, but they're just going to wait until large portions of our population is exterminated. And it might be too late to do anything about it.
Well, I tend to agree with everything you said and have said on previous programs. Tony, my dear friend, take care. Give Mary a kiss. Have a good day. Thank you.
I certainly will.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you much. Ag Express is looking for drivers, and I'm going to give you some information. Man, you better call them. I've got 3 telephone numbers here in just a second. And by the way, too, retired folks are welcome to put in their applications. They're looking for full and part-time positions, and they'll work around your schedule. So, hey, you're home every night, new and maintained equipment usage, vacation programs, benefit packages. Whoa, you better call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Alan in Twin Falls at 731-2495. Russ in Burley at 431-7175. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. Absolutely. By the way, too, we want to say thank you to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, and, of course, they're located across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, and the number to call for a hearing screening, 312-0957, 312-0957. By the way, right now they're in the middle of a Sounds of Summer scavenger hunt, with the grand prize being $500 off a pair of mid-level or premium hearing aids. Stop over and get your contest card at the office, and the office is at 1219, correct that, Zeb, 1218 9th Street, Unit 2 in Rupert. Call them, Mount Harrison Audiology, 312-0957. Oh, and by the way, too, every Monday, 8:30, we give away some cookies, delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. A dozen cookies from Sophie's at 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. That bakery, they've got the maple scones over there, too. And that restaurant, phenomenal. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. You be sure and stop in and see them today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story is a little bit of a I told you so. And I know most of you are in agreement with me. But I have said for the last 4 years on this program that the cutoff of deadbeats on the welfare system absolutely is necessary. We need to cut off their life support system, those that are deadbeats and able to work, and make them become responsible. Well, I'll tell you what, some of what I've been saying for 4 years is coming to fruition, and it's working. In Alabama, and these numbers are staggering. Listen to this. In 13 counties in Alabama, where the law was passed to eradicate the deadbeats and the ne'er-do-wells and the people that are able to go to work, get to work, be at work, in 13 counties, they have seen in Alabama an 85% decrease in food stamp usage. Yeah. Let me say that again. It's an amazing figure. 85% decrease in food stamps. Well, wait a minute. You mean that people are becoming responsible? People are getting a job? People are earning a wage and taking money home and they can buy their own groceries? Oh my gosh! What a novel idea. And this is amazing. They're finding out that people that get off the system are going to work and they're becoming responsible. They're becoming taxpayers. They're becoming not leeches in the system. They're becoming great people and bettering their situation. Wow. Alabama law is working, and so are the deadbeats. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have maintained for a long time on this program that there ought to be a case-by-case-by-case study, and it would be well worth the money. City and local, city and county, whatever the case might be, and find out who is able to work, who is not working, and send them a little letter, kind of a nice little letter, and say, dear homeowner, and welcome to the world of responsibility. Your funding is going to be cut off. No more food stamps, no more welfare money because you get out and get your dead butt to work. That's the way it should be. There are many, many people that need assistance. There are many people that need welfare. There are many people that the world has slapped in the face, and we need to help them. But there reaches a point in almost any welfare system where the leeching takes over and the laziness and slovenliness begins. And the hand is always out to say, gimme, gimme, gimme. That's what needs to be stopped. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. I'm going to tell everybody about Autumn Haven. Oh, my goodness sakes. Yes, these are really nice people at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. The only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. And they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. You are invited to go over there and check the facility out anytime for your loved one. And, you know, they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert, 436-3200. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I would like to know what was in that law that got him moving, whether it was involuntary or required. Anyway, just give us the details.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get a copy of that as to what they did, how they did it, and what they're doing, and I'll have that on the air probably. Oh, she's gone. I'm sorry to have you hang up there for a minute. But I'll find out more of the information. I heard this last night on a newscast, and it was on again this morning, and I'm doing some follow-up on that, and we'll have more of the particulars. But it can't be that difficult. It really can't be that difficult to go in and look at the files, look at the situations, and then bingo, there's one that needs to go to work. Send him a letter. There's another one. Send them a letter. There's a bona fide case. Oh, well, those people, they're just having some hard times. We'll do what we can to help them. We've got to weed out the bad chaff in the system. Look at the money that is being wasted, thrown away, because people are too lazy to be responsible for themselves. You know, when I was in college, I remember, and I'm not going to be too specific about this, but I lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota, going to college. And not too far from our place, we were friends with a family that was really having some tough times. The dad had passed away in an automobile accident. The mom was doing the best to raise the 6 kids, working downtown, holding a job, and the kids ranged from mid-teenagers down to about 5 or 6 years old, doing the best they could. Those are the kind of people that absolutely, in my opinion, need the help, and we should be there with an extended hand. But then when you know of people that are sitting there and not doing anything. They get up in the morning and they may have a cup of coffee that they took the willpower to brew themselves, or they'll go buy coffee on our dime. And they lay around all day long, or maybe they go to the park, maybe they play with the kids, maybe they do this, maybe they do that. They don't want to work. They're leeches in the system. Get rid of them. Make them responsible. I've worked all my life. You probably have worked all your life too. Why should we be promoting, why should we be paying a portion of our monthly checks to help these leeches sit back in the rocking chair and enjoy a very lazy, irresponsible life? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to say that and talk about something that makes you mad. We're going to talk about New York City in a minute, and it may be an effect on all of us, so stand by. Don't forget, on Thursdays, we have a program tomorrow on the program of It's Time to Grow with our dear friend Tony McCammon, University of Idaho horticulturalist, and boy, does this guy get specific about trees and lawns and bugs and everything else. He's really, really good. You're going to like that at 9:15 on Thursdays. It's Time to Grow with Tony McCammon, University of Idaho horticulturalist. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I just heard something on the news just this morning, and I was wondering if you could explain it to me. And that is, the state of Ohio has given up on Obamacare.
Well,
now, I don't know just what they mean by that. I mean, I guess all the insurance companies have pulled out of the program or whatever.
Yeah, Obamacare has been a joke, a fiasco, a total bomb, and many insurance companies now and all the people involved in Obamacare have said, no, it's not working. We can't make it work. It's an abomination. It's not cost effective. And as was predicted, Obamacare would fall flat on its face and be a loser situation for the United States. I think it absolutely behooves the Republican Party to get off their butts and get to work and stop the infighting and say that they're going to really step by step, point by point, make a better health care system, because I'll tell you what's going to happen, Keith. If they don't, the Democrats are pushing and pushing and pushing for single-payer insurance. And then you, Nancy, Deanne, me, everybody, we are really going to suffer.
Yeah, and I realize that. But what I'm feeling sorry for is the doctors and the whole medical field in Ohio. You know, if somebody goes to the doctor, they can't turn them away, but they're not going to have any money to pay the nurses and the doctors and the hospitals. What's going to happen there?
You know, the medical profession, I said yesterday on this program, and I had a caller after the program say, well, come on, Zeb. You said you don't care how much doctors make. I don't. I don't care if every doctor in the world makes $5 million a year or more. As long as they are there and available to me and my family and my kids and my neighbors to do the service of the job that they've studied for. If they're specialists in cancer, if they're orthopedic specialists, whatever. I don't care how much money they make. I want them to be there and available. I don't want to see their numbers depleted because of stupidity with government-controlled health care. I don't want to see ceilings on their income. I want these people to go to school and be the best they can be and be the best doggone doctors available to the public, and I don't care how much money they make.
Well, I know of an orthopedic surgeon who is very, very good. I mean, he has an excellent reputation. And he said he went to school, he paid his debt, so to speak, of all the fees and everything it takes to get your degree in that. And now he says an orthopedic surgeon makes 20% less than they did 20 years ago.
See, the point I'm getting at...
The tuition is triple, double, whatever. So what are we going to do when we run out of doctors?
Well, see, that's the whole thing, Keith. I encourage these young people, these young men and women, to get involved in medicine. I encourage them to look at the opportunities that are going to be in their profession. And let's look at the bottom line. If they make money, who cares, as long as they study to be the best they can be? Maybe they want to go back to a major hospital in New York. Maybe they want to go to a major hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. Maybe they're going to be specialists that are going to find cures for cancer or any other kind of major disease. I don't care how much money they make. They can make $25 million a year. It wouldn't bother me, as long as they're there to provide a service to mankind.
Well, I agree with you 100%. But the education to get there now is so astronomical that it's insurmountable for these young people to become an orthopedic surgeon or any kind of specialized field.
Well, we've got some revamping that has to be done in this country. We've got to provide the incentives for better young people, smarter young people that want to make a career in medicine, whether it's in the laboratory or whether it's in general practice or whether it be specialized. And I absolutely would never come out and say I want to see ceilings or I want to see limitations on who can see who patient. I mean, this is ridiculous. And the single-payer system, if it's put into effect, would be the absolute killer of a lot of good people.
Could you just briefly tell me what single-payer is?
Well, basically, everybody pays for the same kind of insurance. Nobody gets anything better. Nobody gets anything worse. Everybody is put into like a herd of sheep. I've got to do a weather forecast, but I'll tell you, Keith, it's absolutely going to be the ruination of medicine here in this country. You have a good day, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. I mean, I don't care how much money they make. Do you really? Well, that doctor, he made $27 million last year. That's a shame. Well, yeah, but did he see you? Well, yeah. Did he help you? Well, yeah. Did he help your wife? Yeah. So who really gives a rip as to how much money he made? Time for the weather. The weather brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. They're open 7 days a week, serving you and your family, the urgent cares. And right now, Scotty with the weather.
Well, going to be warm and windy. This is your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. For today, looking like sunshine, highs around 93. Now, the wind is going to be a factor, looking for gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Then for tonight, mostly clear, lows around 55. Still going to be having that wind. Then for tomorrow, looking for sunshine, 87, and wind gusts around 21 miles an hour. For Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low of 54. Now, Friday, 20% chance of showers, maybe a little thunderstorms afternoon, partly sunny and a high near 74. And then for Friday night, still that chance of showers hanging around, a low of 46. Saturday, a small chance of showers and a high of 64. That's your 7th Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Attaboy, Scotty. And brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin. Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. My goodness sakes, great, great people serving you and your family. And don't forget, minor emergencies, major care. You stop in and see them today. You know, it's crazy the way our world is going. We want to cut back on successful people. We want to cut back on people that want to do their best and perform their best in a capitalistic society. Really? Do you care how much a doctor makes? As long as he or she is in the practice of saving lives and working diligent at maybe 1 o'clock in the morning to save your child's life, or saving someone from dying from cancer or any other disease, or someone studying and going through all the schools and studying all the scientific facts of maybe how to cure a certain disease. We deserve the best. They deserve the best. And when it comes to income, I don't care if they're the wealthiest people in the world. As long as they're there and available to help and serve others. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What would you say if I told you that this might be a trend that might spread across the United States, and you and I are going to pay for it? Listen to this. In New York City, city council members are demanding is the key word right there, that city taxpayers pay for defense attorneys for convicted criminal illegal aliens. $282 million of taxpayer money is being set aside. $282 million is being set aside to pay for illegal alien attorneys' fees to fight deportation and other court problems. Come on, folksies. This is absolutely insane. Here's the breakdown of how this thing started. Approximately 27 of 51 city council members in New York City have sent a letter to Bill de Blasio, the mayor, asking him to follow the Soros-linked model provided by New York Immigrant Family Unity Projects, and the plan mandates that even, listen to this closely, folks, the plan mandates that even convicted criminal illegal aliens receive taxpayer-funded attorneys. These people are not citizens. They don't belong here. And our tax dollars, to the tune of millions upon millions, being taken out of our pockets to give them a lawyer. I mean, are you serious? The organization behind this push to make American taxpayers pay for convicted criminal illegal aliens' legal fees is funded by George Soros. Oh, George, what a neat guy, boy. Wouldn't you like to have him as a neighbor, have him over for iced tea in the afternoon, and maybe, never mind, I better not go there, and is a recreation of the now defunct Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now, or better known as Barack Obama's old tent, Acorn. This is absolutely amazing that the taxpayers in New York, and like I said, don't laugh and scoff and say, well, that's back in New York City. It could be a growing cancer that's spread across the country that us as taxpayers, those of us that get out of bed and go to work in the morning, whether it's at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and we put in a full day's work, our wives work, we're out working trying to have the American dream, and then these illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, have their attorney's fees paid for by our tax dollars. What are your thoughts? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yeah, I'm going nuts. I got to give you another story, too, and I want to get your opinion on this. Come on, don't weaken on me this morning. In the last couple of days, the liberal left has been going bonkers over some statements that have been made in the baseball world. Yeah. I'll give you an example of what's making the liberal left go crazy. Boston Red Sox announcer Jerry Remy took heat the other evening because he didn't think, and I listened to his remarks and I agree with Jerry Remy 1,000%. Jerry Remy didn't think that it's right to have interpreters hired by the ball teams and on the field to interpret while foreign players are playing in Major League Baseball. I agree with him. He said, and I agree, that you better learn baseball language. And I think that's kind of a interesting comment, because learning baseball language, when the catcher goes out to meet with the pitcher, they have to bring in the translators and everything. I think that's bogus. I don't care if they're Japanese players. I don't care if they're Korean players. I don't care if they're from Mexico. I don't give a rip where they're from. I don't think that in the major leagues they should have to have interpreters be a part of the game activity. I don't think it's fair. And I don't think it's good sportsmanship to the other team that may not have those players. But oh my goodness, is Jerry Remy ever in for heat? Woo! The left is calling for his head. They're saying he wasn't politically correct when he mentioned in his statement that they should all learn baseball language, which i.e. means a semblance of English, like throw me a curveball next, or make it high and tight on the next pitch to make his eye level change, or down and outside. I mean, but putting interpreters on the mound? I totally agree with Jerry Remy, but the left is calling for his head. Oh, boy. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Yep. All 7 locations serving you with the best of all your travel tires. I mean, man alive, for your car, pickup, SUV, boat trailer, horse trailer, whatever. They've got all your tires, all the sizes, all the different tread designs for your type of driving. Doing the right thing matters at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And the best of brake service. Woo! Highly trained technicians that really know brakes and front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, my. It's all there. But, you know, like I've said many times, the key is service. They really take care of you. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert. Of course, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yes, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Holy cow, this hour went fast. I wished we would have had a couple of more phone calls and talked about various things. Christopher Ray has been nominated and appointed by Donald Trump to take over the FBI directorship. We're going to hear a lot more about that in the next couple of days. Coming up next hour, we're going to have, hopefully at 9:15, a visit with our friend, United States Senator Mike Crapo. It's going to be a short time, and I'm not going to take outside calls, but I have some questions I think that are very important for today. And then at 9:30, we have Dave Vigo. 10:06, we got Jack Euler, my old buddy, coming on the program. And then at 10:30 this morning, Dusty Stanley with Stanley Premium Western Forage. Going to be looking forward to that. The Relay for Life is this weekend, Saturday, from 11 to 11 at the Burley High School track. God bless all of these people with the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, and they're walking and running and gathering funds to fight the dreaded disease, cancer. We're going to take a little break. Be back in about 7 minutes. Old Wheels is ready to put on a tune. We'll see you in 7, Zeb at the Ranch. Welcome back. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, and we're very proud of them. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Hey, stop in and see them today. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho,
Have you tried to find out more information on the Go Minis, the storage units? You ought to call Western Waste Services today. Maybe you've got a great big wedding coming up or a reunion or whatever, and you got a whole bunch of stuff laying around, and you need to get it put someplace. Well, they've got the Go Mini storage units. They are really, really handy. Call them today, Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Number to call, 734-6969, Western Waste Services. Absolutely. On Mondays, don't forget, we've got a great program, Gardening for Idiots, named after me because I'm not much of a gardener, but I'm learning thanks to Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. That's at 9:15 on Monday mornings. And don't forget, Vicky's Country Garden, celebrating 20 years in business of serving you with all your plants and your vegetables for the garden and all your lawn ornamental care, bark, rock, everything, trees, shrubs, they've got it at Vicky's Country Garden in Paul. And in just a few minutes, we are expecting that we'll have United States Senator from Idaho, Mike Crapo, on the phone with us. And also want to remind everybody that Sportsman's Warehouse, oh my goodness sakes, they're going to have a big to-do coming up this Saturday at the Jerome Gun Club on Highway 93. And they're going to have the Sportsman's Warehouse Outdoor Shooting Expo from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, where you can try the guns out before you buy the guns. They're going to have representatives there from Colt and Smith & Wesson and Glock and many more. Admission is free, but there's a minimal charge for ammunition. So don't miss this. Sportsman's Warehouse Outdoor Shooting Expo this Saturday, June 10th from 9 to 4 at the Jerome Gun Club. Man, that's going to be quite a deal. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And also want to remind you that, the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation will be providing a responsible rider course at Let's Ride in Hayburn, where the fun is sold, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that's going to be on June 14th. Courses offered on ATV, off-highway motorcycle, and utility-type vehicles. Pre-registration is required, and to register, contact the Minidoka County Sheriff's Office at 434-2320. That's it. Let's Ride on June 14th. Ark Animal Hospital. Hello, Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, and the whole crew over there. These are really, really good people at 750 21st Street in Hayburn, and they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. And Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, and everybody wants me to remind you that if you have dogs and puppies, you'd better make sure that they're vaccinated against that deadly, highly contagious viral infection called parvovirus. It is and can be very deadly. So please give them a call at 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital. They have warm hearts for cold noses. Yeah, like I said, in just a few moments, we're expecting our United States Senator Mike Crapo to be calling in on the program this morning, and we have quite a few questions lined up for him in a short period of time of getting him on the air this morning. So he'll be calling in, and Wheels will give me the high sign thumbs up in just a few seconds, I hope, with Mike Crapo. Again, while we're waiting, I want to remind everybody about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And the man is Joel Heward, the manager with his family and his staff. They serve you. They take care of you. They help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. You know, nobody wants to talk about death and dying, but it's a part of life. And when this happens in your family, please always remember that Hanson Mortuary will uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity in serving you. Call them today at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. All right, I got time for a quick phone call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The insidious, very despicable left, Michael Moore, you know, the overweight, underworked film director, supposedly, launches a new Trumpy-Leaks to encourage more anti-Trump activists like the 25-year-old reality winner who breached security, broke the law, and now might serve 10 years in prison. Michael Moore is advocating for more of this. He says patriotic Americans are needed to blow the whistle in the name of protecting the United States of America from tyranny. There are so many words, there are so many phrases that I could use in relation to Michael Moore and the left and what they're doing to disrupt, disavow, dissect, and absolutely tear apart the fabric of our American scene and hurt this administration from doing anything for the American public to whom voted him in. Michael Moore is a pimple on the face of society, and I just have no good words for that man. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you also, while we're waiting for our phone call, and Wheels, is the light on the phone lighting up, or is it still just plain and bland?
It's just plain and bland.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the excitement, though.
Where is your enthusiasm level this morning, young man?
It's here.
Oh.
It's the enthusiasm and the anxiousness of being able to pick that phone up and be like,
"No, don't go. You're just pulling my leg." All right, thank you. I'll wait for you to call me. Hey, don't forget life insurance, health insurance, and retirement planning and employee benefits. All of this and more with the professionals at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call, 436-4424. Let me say it again, 436-4424. They are very dedicated and responsive to your needs. They want to make sure you're covered. They want to make sure you're cared for. So please get a hold of them today. When you think about your financial future, think Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number again, 436-4424. Once again, we wait patiently for our United States Senator, Mike Crapo, to be calling in. Should be now, as a matter of fact. And later on this morning, we're going to have Dave Beagle from Indianapolis, Indiana, on the air. Jack Euler is going to be on at 10:06 this morning, and we're going to be talking to him about the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and our upcoming fire season. And then at 10:30, I'm really looking forward to the interview with Dusty Stanley with Stanley Premium Western Forage, a company that's just a little bit north of me, and they are a world-known and respected company, and I'm really looking forward to having him on the air. Relay for Life, again, is this weekend. And for those of you that have participated in the Relay for Life, whether it's walking or running around the track, gathering funds to fight the dreaded disease of cancer, the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life is going to be this Saturday, June 10th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. at the Burley High School track. And the theme this year is One Wish, Two Wish, You Wish, I Wish for a Cure. And I just absolutely want to salute everyone that's going to be a part of the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life. And Debbie Critchfield was on our program many, many times. We certainly thank her. Deanne, the Mike Crapo number is over there on my desk by the phone on a white piece of paper, the 202 number. You might give them a call and find out why they are not on the air currently, and we'll take some outside calls. So give us a jingle at 436-2244. Yes, Wheels, go ahead.
I actually have the senator on the phone for you.
All right, well, we'll say good morning right now to United States Senator from Idaho, Mike Crapo, dear friend of this program, has been for many years. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb.
What's going on in the land on the Potomac, which seems to have divorced itself from reality?
Well, you got that part right. Interestingly, the battle here is still just as intense and as mean-spirited as I've ever seen it. People can see that on the news that's being reported, even though it's not very accurate, what's getting reported out of here. But we are fighting on the right things. You know, we've been fighting to stop really bad things from happening for the last 8 years. We're now at least fighting to get the right things to happen. And so I'm pretty glad about that. You know, and probably the best example of that is Neil Gorsuch making it onto the Supreme Court through this incredible battle that we had here for that. But that's just, I think, an example of the fact that good things are getting on the agenda. So that should be good news to folks.
It is, Mike, but I got to tell you this, and I think you and I have been friends long enough that I can say this, you're not going to be offended. 6 months has gone by since the inauguration for Donald Trump. Virtually, we are adrift with not too much being done for you, me, your family, my family. When and how is the Senate and the House, when are they going to sit down and get things done? And are we going to be able to step over the Democrats and get the work done, or are we going to see this continual bickering going on so that everything is in a sea of adriftness? We're not doing anything.
Well, you know, I don't take offense at that, but I do take a little different perspective on it. And this is my perspective. 6 months has passed, or is about to pass, but we have been engaged for that entire 6 months in very intensive battle to change the direction in this country and to stand up a new president. There are over 600 nominations that the president needs to have the Senate confirm, starting with his cabinet. And those who don't want to see the change that is promised by President Trump have fought at every step to slow down the process on that cabinet. And we've got the cabinet in place. We're starting to move aggressively through the other nominations and get them in place. And you are starting to see some of this show now in executive agencies and in some of our regulators. And you've seen the president, through executive order, literally start rolling back the explosion of government that's been going on. So that's one thing. As I mentioned, we've got a Supreme Court justice that's been moved through. We are debating intensely over repealing and replacing Obamacare, and we are working very hard on reforming the tax code. But for those who say, hey, within 100 days, I think, frankly, the Trump administration themselves said, we're going to reform the tax code in 100 days, or we're going to repeal Obamacare and replace it in 100 days. I thought that was setting an unrealistic expectation. If you remember, when President Obama, who had 60 votes in the Senate and total control of the House, when he tried to do a big health care bill, even he, with all those votes, couldn't get it done until Christmas Eve. And he had, you remember the Nebraska buyout and the Florida deal and all the stuff he had to do? I'm not suggesting that the Republicans will have to do that or should do that. But my point is, some of these bigger battles simply take some time. I wish they didn't, but my report to you is the battles are engaged. And yes, the Republicans represent a diverse set of states and districts. And yes, the Republicans are having some internal discussions among themselves about exactly how to get it done, but that's normal legislative process.
Okay, now let me ask you this then about Obamacare and now the transition to the new health care plan with the Trump administration. You were, to our benefit, very, very much like a fly in the milk to the Obamacare program, and you picked apart everything that was going to be negative for the American people, and you were right with your assumptions. But now looking at the new plan, did we jump into that puddle of water too quick without really seeing what it might do for coverage, what it might do to the seniors, what it might do to costs? Where are we on a new health plan that would be beneficial, much more so than the Obamacare program?
Well, I think that you've got some merit in how you described it. The new health care plan that came out of the House came out under that 100-day pressure, and they even failed to meet the 100 days, but they were still pressured to move it before it was finally ready, in my opinion. However, having said that, the attacks on that bill are not fair, or they're not accurate. I mean, certainly there are issues in it, and the CBO report that says that 24 million or 17 million people will be pushed out of their health care is just not accurate. But there are issues that need to be resolved. The question of whether people with pre-existing conditions will be able to keep their health care and not see their premiums skyrocket they tried to resolve it in there, but perhaps the fix needs to be improved. And those are the kinds of things that the Senate is working on. So we are taking our time to work on it. We aren't slowing down. I don't think we'll be anywhere near Christmas like President Obama was, but we are moving forward aggressively to develop a good health care plan that will take the problems of Obamacare and remove them and build a new system. I should say, and I can't remember if I said this on your program or not before, it's going to take steps. The first step is reconciliation, which is a procedure that avoids a filibuster, but because it avoids a filibuster, it is limited in how far it can go. And so we're going to take those steps, and then we are going to take the steps that are achievable through regulatory reform that the president can do, and then we're going to take the steps of pushing legislation that will face a filibuster in the Senate, but we expect to be able to show the American people that at that point the health care system we are creating will benefit by this legislation and get the votes to do it.
Senator, let me ask you this, and I think you and I have talked about this on the program in the past and then also privately when we've met each other at various functions, but the Democrats really, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, are pushing for the single-payer platform of health insurance, and I personally think that would be the total destruction and chaos of American medicine. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you are right. I don't think there's any doubt, and some of them even honestly admit that their objective is now and has been for years to force a single-payer system on us. Look, Obamacare is imploding. If the Republicans were to do nothing, our healthcare system would implode and do so much devastation to the American people. Some people say they think that that was intended and that that would push America to take the next step. toward a single-payer, total government control system. Whether it was intended that Obamacare implode, it is intended that we move to a single-payer system in this battle. And I agree with you totally. It would be a devastation. It would just, frankly, represent one more huge step in government takeover of the economy and the delivery to the people of another huge bureaucratic mess with regard to their health care.
Mike, right now this morning, Comey is testifying in regards to what happened between him and the president, possible Russian collusion and all this balderdash. And the Democrats, of course, are trying to play that knife up to the hilt that there was all kinds of Russian involvement in our last election, and they're postponing really working for the American people. Would you tell us once and for all, is there any proof whatsoever after all these months that the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself personally had any collusion with Russia that would be worth all this time and effort?
At this point, there is not. The investigations are continuing, and when people ask me about Comey, I say, they ask me, I had a reporter yesterday and today ask me to speculate on what Comey's testimony was going to do to the presidency, and I said, we don't even have his testimony. What we need to do is hear what he has to say, and then we can talk about it. But The fact is, after all of these different efforts to try to create the case that there is collusion, at this point in time, there is no case that has been created. And frankly, we have the Intelligence Committee in the Senate, we have the Intelligence Committee in the House, and the FBI looking into it. And if there is something there, it will be found. And I think that the American people can be assured of that. And I believe we need to get that answer as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Mike, one thing I'm really surprised at, and I want to ask you this question. You've been in politics for a long, long time. Have you ever in your career seen as much partisanship and bickering over nothing other than the fact that they hate Donald Trump and they want to see him removed from office? I've never seen anything like this. What are your thoughts?
No, Zeb, I haven't either. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of really mean-spirited politics, but I've never seen it at this level. It is discouraging, to put it mildly, to see the change in demeanor of American politics, particularly in Congress, as we deal with this disagreement by one group over who won the election. And, there were plenty of us, like myself and you, who were not happy when Barack Obama won election and then won re-election.
That's right.
But we honored the presidency, and we honored our Constitution, and we fought hard within our constitutional system. I believe there are those who just are not willing to be bound by those kinds of restrictions and are going to be seeking every avenue they have to try to change the outcome of the election because they did not like it.
One final question for you, Mike. I know you got to run, but right now we're in the midst of Ramadan, the Islamic month, where we're really afraid as Americans as to what's happening over in Europe, that it may spill over here. What are your thoughts and fears about our national security and also Donald Trump's travel ban? I've been all for it and in favor of it. What are your thoughts about that in regards to trying to keep the bad guys out of the United States?
Well, first and foremost, I think that the recent attacks that we've seen in Europe, unfortunately, highlight the fact that we have to take seriously the need to adequately vet those who immigrate to our country. And that does not mean we should not allow immigration. It means we should adequately vet and have an effective immigration system. What President Trump did in his executive order that's been called a travel ban, and he calls it a travel ban, I guess it was a short-term travel ban, but he basically said we're going to have a 6-month stay for these 7 specific countries because they are the countries that present the greatest risk, and we're going to determine whether we can adequately vet those who are coming. I think it's important to note that he didn't just pick those 6 countries out of thin air. those countries were actually named in a statute by Congress that was signed by President Obama that identified them as the six most dangerous countries that we needed to deal with in this context. And President Obama himself has delayed the visa process in those countries to try to see if we couldn't get a better handle on it. And so President Trump was perhaps doing it in a stronger way than President Obama did, but he was pursuing the same line of thinking that Congress and President Obama himself had pursued previously.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that we have judges who will, in my opinion, rely on a campaign statement that the president made and say that that makes the perfectly legal act illegal because he has a bad motive. I think that, first of all, I don't think he has that bad motive, and secondly, I think that our national security needs a strong review for adequate vetting of those seeking to gain a visa to enter our country from these dangerous areas.
Absolutely. I know you have to run. United States Senator Mike Crapo, good friend, like I said, to this program. Thank you, sir, for your time this morning. Don't make yourself a stranger and come back soon.
I'll do it. Thanks for the visit, Zeb. I look forward to it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. United States Senator from Idaho, Mike Crapo. And a very short interview, but then on the other hand, answered a lot of very vital questions. And thank you very much. Holy cow, we got our next guest waiting in just a minute. I've got to tell everybody about Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Whoa, with the temperature getting up into the 90s, you're going to head for the lakes, the rivers, and the streams and check out all the watercraft to have fun from Let's Ride. And all the 4x4s and the side-by-sides. Oh, my! Get out and enjoy Southern Idaho. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Absolutely. And they've got a fantastic accessory department and a service department that'll keep you running and gunning and enjoying the great outdoors. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true, where the fun is sold. Oh my goodness, Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you, my dear friend? Is he there, Wheels?
He is, sir.
All right. Once again, good morning, Dave Bego. How are you?
I'm doing good, Zeb. How you doing?
Well, we've been very busy. Just finished a conversation with United States Senator Mike Crapo from our state of Idaho. And give us kind of an update. What's going on in Dave Bego's world for the last 6 days since we visited?
Over the last what?
6 days since we visited last.
Hold on just a minute, Zeb.
He must have the same cough that I've had. Are you okay, my friend?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Oh, just busy. We've got, I was telling Damon that we've unfortunately got some family problems. My dad, who's 87, is not doing very well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're very concerned and working on him, and my wife has had some back problems, and our dog has got Cushing's disease. I don't know if you ever heard of that. That's where they drink too much water, then they can't hold it, and they're incontinent and pee too much, and so I'm just crazy right now.
I absolutely feel fortunate that I'm on the air with you, but I certainly want to extend our best to your dad and your wife and the dog, and I certainly hope everything goes better. Let me ask you about this, Dave, real quick on our interview here this morning. Black Lives Matter, funded by George Soros and other leftist groups. Now they're coming out and they're saying that we should have a boycott of the NFL because they're too pro-Trump. What are your thoughts about this group and the insanity that they promote?
Well, Black Lives Matter is also supported by the SEIU, the union I fought, and going back to my books, I wish everybody would read it and wake up to what's going on in this country because, President Obama was trained by the SEIU. He worked for them. He organized with them, and in my book, I quote him saying, we gain power on the south side of Chicago, and together we're going to paint this country purple. And purple is the color of the SEIU, and they have also the SEIU marches in the streets of California every year with the Communist Party. So this tells you what the left is like, and the SEIU is arm in arm with Soros, because, Soros had the Acorn Group, and the SEIU let them put their offices in SEIU offices across the country. You put the dots together and you realize what's going on and who these people are in this country. And they only know how to win by intimidating people and, bringing things down and controlling. And they're going to continue to try and intimidate Trump, make him look bad, impeach him, bring this country down and take over. And day after day, I'm getting emails and calls and things from people around the country worried about this stuff. And I said, I know. I've been through it. I know who these people are. I understand their tactics. It's time to wake up, America.
Let me ask you about that, Dave. I don't think in our previous conversations I've ever asked you this one specific question, but when you talk about the SEIU and the members of the SEIU and the controlling factors of the SEIU, how do they, this union, go out and solicit and recruit people? Who are they looking for? What kind of people are these anyway?
Well, it's real simple. They understand that a big percentage of people in this country, and especially the younger generation, are very, very naive and don't understand. And they go out and they throw out all these promises. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do this for you. We're going to help you make more money. You get these benefits, and we're going to make it an easy life. You don't have to work very hard. All the things that, people say, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And at the end of the day, they could care less, because at the end of the day, they want these people to force unionize these people, number one, but at the end of the day, they want to control them. And it's like Black Lives Matter. SEIU is behind that, and it is really a big component of that, probably more so than Soros. And, the Fight for 15 is the same thing. I mean, if you go back and read one of my blogs, I expose the fact, an SEIU executive said, this Fight for 15, we really don't care whether people get $15 an hour or not. At the end of the day, we just want to unionize them.
Yeah.
And people have to wake up to the fact that these people throw out all these promises and, stuff and make things sound flowery and great. But at the end of the day, they want to control us and control this country because they don't know how to compete in our free market society.
Dave, I don't know the complexion of what it's like in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've only been there on a couple of occasions. But it would appear to me, and tell me if you think I'm wrong or right, that race relations, if you will, in this country are now back to even worse than I think what they were in the mid-'60s back in Alabama with George Wallace, etc. And you take groups like Black Lives Matter and George Soros and the huge division and the huge divisiveness that's going on in this country. Boy, do you think it's as bad as I perceive it? What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely, Zeb. And it's going to get worse. And, it's time for people to wake up. And these people and the Obama administration is a perfect example of, and I've talked about this before, Cloward and Piven, how you bring down this country and all the things, the points that you do to bring it down. And one of them is dividing the country, pitting race against race and religion against religion. And, of course, all the entitlement programs, Obamacare, controlling health care, controlling education, and our national debt out of control. All these are just part of the plan and the agenda to bring this country down. And, to me, it's so plain to see because I've been through it. I see how these people work. I see how they lie and misinform and intimidate and, brainwash and all that kind of stuff. And we have to wake America up because it's terrible where this is going. And I think Trump has a lot of good ideas in that, but he has to to polish things up and get out in front of people of this country and expose the lies of the far left.
You said something that I want you to elaborate on. He has to polish things up a little bit, were your words. I would say that the Twitter account has caused more trouble than it's ever helped. I think that he says he uses it to get to the people that helped elect him in the last election, but personally I think it's causing him a lot of problems with the left picking up different things to attack him on. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the ways that I was able to defeat the SEIU is that I professionally addressed them and confronted them and exposed all their misinformation and lies and everything they were doing out there. And I didn't berate them and downgrade them. I didn't throw stuff out there they could use for ammunition against me. I realized right away that was the wrong course, and they found out that they weren't going to be able to, because they used to call me things that they call Trump, that I'm racist and a bigot and all that kind of stuff, and it just wasn't true. And when I exposed it professionally in that, they started crawling back under their rocks, and this is what Trump has to do to the other side.
Dave, I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you about a story that's coming out of Alabama, and it relates to something I have said on my program for the last 4 years, that we need to have a cutoff. We need to have a thorough investigation, file by file, of all the welfare recipients in this country, whether it's in the city, whether it's in the county, the state, whatever. We need to have an investigation to save money and put people back to being responsible for themselves, get a job, and become responsible American taxpayers. Well, in Alabama, 13 counties where this law has been implemented to get people off of welfare after they've studied who is eligible and who is not, they have seen in 13 counties there's an 85% decrease in food stamp usage because people are going back to work. This is what we need to do nationwide. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, Zeb. I mean, that's we got to put people in a position that they have to go to work, they want to go to work, and but unfortunately, we've had an administration in here that, again, going back to the Cloward and Piven, that was one of their points of bringing down this country is that entitlement programs like food stamps and that kind of stuff and welfare, and because again, it adds to the national debt by a huge amount, but it also, you control people. When you're giving them stuff, they do what you tell them to do, and you get votes. And this is what's going on in this country, and it's time for Americans to wake up and have a backbone across the country. And I'm not just talking the Republican Party, because I think they need to get stronger, but I think the traditional Democrats need to do it, and everybody else needs to do it, and really expose this far-left mentality.
Okay, but you mentioned the Democrats a minute ago, Dave, and I've been antagonistic against their profile of what they're doing or not doing. Why in the world would they want to pick up a gun and shoot themselves in the foot by continually being the bad guys? Sooner or later, I think this is going to come back to haunt them, the way they are stopping and stymieing this administration from trying to get the work done for them, the American people. Or is the American public so dumb they can't realize what the Democrats are doing?
Well, and a lot of the Democrats, because it's really the far left part of the Democratic Party that's causing the problems, and a lot of the traditional Democrats are just standing aside, and they're afraid to say anything and have any backbone, and we need them to stand up and say something too. And it's time, because again, we're in serious shape in this country, and it's time we turn it around.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Thank you.
I'll make it quick, and then I'll listen off the air. Dave, I wanted to know what you thought about the guaranteed national income that Democrats are pushing. Thank you. Bye.
Go ahead, Dave, please.
Well, it's real simple. The only reason they're pushing that is they want votes for the upcoming midterm elections.
That's right.
And of course the next presidential election, and they're trying to buy votes, and that's what this is all about. And we need to go back to America that people go out and work hard and persevere and learn to by what they've achieved, so they can move forward and move up and improve their incomes and their lot in life and all that kind of stuff, not by being handed stuff. And again, this is stuff that you have to get out and professionally convey to the American people. I had to do it to my employees because, the unions sit there and tell them, oh, we're going to make sure you get a guaranteed income for life. You're going to get this. You're going to get all this stuff. You're going to, all this kind of stuff. And when I sat down and I talked to my employees, and I went to buildings all across the Midwest in the evenings and sat down and talked to employees about what the real truth was behind the scenes and what the union was really after, it's amazing how these people understood. And, my employees, I'm sure, were from both parties and all different walks of life and that. But I professionally sat down and talked to them, and I did it with my customers, I did it with vendors, I did it with other people. And this is what has to happen if we're going to turn this thing around.
Absolutely. Dave, I know you've heard this story, but I'm worried that it might have a cancerous encroachment across America. The New York City Council members are demanding, there's the key word right there, that city taxpayers in New York pay for defense attorneys for convicted criminal illegal aliens. And they're talking about millions and millions of dollars being taken out of the pocket of taxpayers to give defense attorneys for convicted criminal illegal aliens. This is nuts, Dave.
It's buying votes again, Zeb, and that's what people have to understand, because the Democratic Party relies on the Hispanic population and both ones that are here legal and illegally to go to the polls and get them elected. And this is all part of the process. And they're going to continue to do these things because, again, at the end of the day, these people don't know how to step back and really compete in a free market society, do the right things, and get elected because they're making America great again based on what America was founded on.
One thing I want you to elaborate on, because nobody knows more about this topic than you would, but I understand with the government workers like this sorry, despicable traitor to America, this 25-year-old girl, reality winner, letting secrets leak out and basically hating Trump, and that's why she did it, etc. Are they all a part of a major union force, and what kind of difficulty will it be to get rid of her, prosecute her, and stop others from this insanity?
Well, I'm sure she's been, again, she's 25 years old. She's been brainwashed by, the left, unions or Soros's group or some of the others, Obama's program now. And, these people, Zeb, it's amazing when you sit down. I can remember we had one of our people downtown here in Indianapolis, and I sat down and talked to him. He was a lead person for us, and asked him why he thought the union was good. And he went through all these things. Well, they do this for you, and they want to do this for you, and they really care about you, and they're going to do, make sure that laws get passed and things get done for us, and make things better and all this kind of stuff. And that's the same way this gal is. She's been brainwashed and she doesn't get it. And, some of them you'll never turn around. Like this guy I just talked to you about, we never got him turned around. But the majority of them we did by sitting down and face-to-face and talking to them and that. And people like her, yeah, they should be taken to task for it. And if it means filing lawsuits against her and taking her, that's what needs to be done because
Absolutely.
She violated the law.
Absolutely. Final thought here this morning. I know you're a sports enthusiast, so am I, and I'm a baseball nut. something is happening right now in Major League Baseball with political correctness, and I feel sorry for Boston Red Sox announcer Jerry Remy. I don't know if you've heard about this story or not, but he took issue with the fact that some of our foreign ball players from Japan and North Korea, etc., they, in the middle of the game, will bring out interpreters to kind of basically tell what's going on to the pitcher, what changes are going to be made. And Jerry Remy said, wait a minute, this isn't right, because interpreters do not belong on the mound. That's an unfair advantage to the other team, and if they're going to play baseball, they should learn baseball language. And the left has gone nuts over this and said that Jerry Remy ought to have his head on a platter, and he's not PC because he's advocating English over all other languages. What are your thoughts about this?
Very simple. If you're going to live in America, you need to learn to speak the English language and become an American. It's okay that you've got a background, whether you're from Japan or any other country in the world, and you've passed. And the other thing is that you've got into this country legally, and that you've gone through the process, and that you've met all the criteria to get in and all that, and you're a good person. That's all great. But you came here because you thought America was great. If you thought America was great, then learn the American language and help us grow it.
Well, you know, I'm glad to hear you say that, and I knew you would, but I think that baseball and all sports or any part of life, I mean, you're here in this country, you live in our culture, respect our heritage, respect our laws and our Constitution. I really don't care about the culture or heritage that you left, because now it's time for you to assimilate in the United States of America.
Well, that's right. And, you know, people that are fighting this and doing all this, if they think America is so bad, then why don't you go back to where you came from, or if you're born here and you don't like it, then go someplace you think you like. But America is the greatest thing that's ever happened to this world. And people are trying to bring it down because they can't compete with it.
Absolutely. Dave, seriously, moment, our very best, our thoughts and prayers to your father and your wife, and I certainly hope things start to gel on the better side of things. God bless you, my dear friend, and if there's anything I can do, I'm only a phone call away, my friend. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and I just want to make you a little jealous. I got a autographed baseball bat by Andre Dawson.
No, it didn't make me a little jealous. It makes me very jealous. God bless you, Dave. See you next week. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, thank you. Dave Bego, a really dear friend back in Indianapolis, Indiana. Very, very big businessman, entrepreneur, and author. And I thank him for being on my program. Wow, I've got to get a weather forecast on here. Let me turn the page. There we go, and the weather's brought to you this hour by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning services, all of this and so much more. And they really, really work with the agricultural, manufacturing, and food production and services and construction businesses in the area and individuals like you and me. Call them today. They've got 2 office locations in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company CPAs. And right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Well, going to be warm and windy. This is your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. For today, looking like sunshine, highs around 93. Now, the wind is going to be a factor, looking for gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Then for tonight, mostly clear, lows around 55. Still going to be having that wind. Then for tomorrow, looking for sunshine, 87, and wind gusts around 21 miles an hour. For Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low of 54. Now, Friday, 20% chance of showers, maybe a little thunderstorms afternoon, partly sunny and a high near 74. And then for Friday night, still that chance of showers hanging around, a low of 46. Saturday, a small chance of showers and a high of 64. That's your 7th Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
That boy, Scotty. Appreciate that. And the weather brought to you this hour by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Man, they are good. The best of CPA services to you. And don't forget, they're located at 17 1610 Overland Avenue in Burley, and 625th Street in Rupert. The best serving you, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company CPAs. I've got time for a quick call if you want to give it to me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I heard something about 2 weeks ago, and I neglected to put this on the air. And it's scary. It's chilling. And I don't even know the source of where this rumor came from, but I had heard from a couple of people that were talking in a conversation that they had heard. So here's kind of a rumor mill and speculation, but it's scary. And this is the only reason I'm saying this, that there are people in the government. This is not a bona fide fact. I'm just saying I heard this. There are people in the government that are pushing for random picks of home and shelters to be selected for homeless people or ne'er-do-well people to be selected and then move into those homes. Basically kind of an adoption program. Oh, my. I've heard of this being filtered around the last couple of years, but when you start taking people that have worked hard, have a home, have a family, and are doing well in the community, and you put them on a list as possible and potential picks to shelter or homeless people or ne'er-do-wells, that's not the America I was born and raised in. I'm going to do some more research on this rumor that I've heard and try to get something found out for next week on the program if I can. But that is spooky that the government would say, aha, you're well-to-do. We're going to move in a homeless person to live in your home. That bothers me a lot. By the way, don't forget Autumn Haven. And Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. They are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. And believe me, they are more than able to provide excellent one-on-one care. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place, and they invite you to stop by and visit their facility anytime. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 436-3200. Caller, I've got 30 seconds. Go fast.
I suggest we take all these politicians that's got 3 or 4 homes, 2 vacation homes, and start pulling them in first, and then like Hillary and my mind went blank. The guy with the global warming.
Yeah, Al Gore.
Rooms in his home. He's got more room than he needs, so we'll start filling them up before we start picking on the little people.
No, Dougie, my dear friend, I would not wish it upon any part of humanity or civilized society for anyone to have to live with Hillary Clinton.
But anyway, if they're going to do that, let's start at the top. Let's get the 1% to donate first.
There you go. I got the news next, man. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in about 7 minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away, buddy. Oh, here we go. Take a little break, and then we came back, and we're in the ring for more. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. We're going to have our guest with us on the phone momentarily, but right now I also want to remind you that Ag Express is looking for drivers. That's right, full and part-time positions. Retired folks are welcome to apply, and they'll work around your schedule 2 or 3 days a week, whatever works best for you. You're home every night, and you're using new and maintained equipment, too. And I'll tell you what, vacation schedules, benefit programs, you'd better call right now. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Alan in Twin Falls, 731-2495. And Russ in Burley at 431-7175. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. I have, over the many, many years of being in the broadcasting, television, news, radio, and the rodeo business, garnered a lot of friends. And this man that's on the program this morning is one of my most trusted and respected friends and has been for many, many years. Jack Euler, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Now send the check.
Okay. How much?
Yeah, I'll come up with the final amount after the program. Jack, let me ask you, do you honestly feel, as a sportsman, and you are a committed sportsman for not only your generation, but for your son and your grandsons and future generations, do you think that there is kind of a let's say, clandestine plot to do away with hunting and fishing in this country? What are your thoughts?
I totally believe that and have for many years. The whatever you want to call them in Washington, D.C., has been paid royally for their votes to do whatever BLM wants, to do whatever anybody else wants. The environmental groups have money, and the bad part about the environmental groups having the money to buy the votes in Washington, D.C., is the fact that it's tax money. And I had a congressman from Utah by the name of Jim Hansen that I knew very well for many, many years. He was in Congress for 22 years, and we worked together at a claims office in Ogden for many years before that, and he told me where the money comes and goes. And then there was a guy that he worked for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and his name was Jim Beers, and he laid it right out in a meeting in Livingston, Montana that I was at, and it's terrible what our tax dollars are doing to us. And I hope and pray that somebody, and maybe this guy that's there now, has the you-know-what to get something done.
Let me ask you this question, Jack. What have you seen? You and I basically are in the same age bracket, but what have you seen during your lifetime that is a point of concern, of diminishment, of where people are trying to, whether it's the environmentalists, whether it's the government, whatever, are trying to cut back on the usage of our public lands and or hunting and fishing? What have you seen that really leads you to be concerned?
Well, one of them is right here in Idaho right now, and it's up there by Arco, and they want to turn that into a national park instead of what it is now, and they want to take away grazing on, because there is some grazing on there now, but it's getting tougher and tougher every year. So I see that. I see, when I was growing up down on a dry farm in northwest Utah, we could find on our dry farm in the trees out there, we could find arrowheads. And yes, we did pick them up. Today, you can find an arrowhead, but you're supposed to leave it right there on the ground. You're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to pick it up. You're not supposed to put it in your pocket. I don't know. And the stuff that I've done with sage grouse and the way I see the way BLM treats ranchers with fires, there is a two-prong approach that is going on with that. And you just look at what happened up in Oregon, where a guy had a permit to do a burn on his property, and it burned 134 acres of federal BLM ground. And the man and his son are in prison for that today.
Right.
Finnecan is dead as a result of that. And we got a turnaround out here in Elba with Claire Teeter. Now, Claire Teeter has been burned twice out there on his ranch. The first time it came off from BLM ground onto his property and burned $150,000 worth of hay. He got nothing. And the other fire was just a few years ago that came, and it was going to take his house, but he got on his dozer and went around the house and dozed and saved his house. He lost some sheds. He lost some equipment in the yard. It came really close. 2 days after the fire was out, BLM knocked on his door and wanted to go inspect that area where he dozed around his house to see if he had disturbed any artifacts. I mean, there's just, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander, is what I see.
And we've talked about this.
I don't think it's fair.
We've talked about this privately and then also on the radio in past broadcasts that, basically the homeowner, the property owner of private property is kind of hamstrung by government rules and regulations. And it's like you said earlier, if a fire encroaches upon their property and they're trying to save their property, they literally can be investigated by the federal government and found at fault for trying to save their property. This is complete lunacy.
And I've seen the letter from BLM to a rancher on that fire out north of Glenn's Ferry a few years ago, and out that area that burned about 40,000 acres. A guy got on his tractor and disc and was trying to save his property, and he got a letter that says he was subject to federal prosecution as a result of that.
Yeah. Jack, and I'm going to ask you the phone, hold it really still and straight because we're having kind of a muffled effect there. Jack, this year it looks like with the very wet spring and grass growth, I think at an all-time high for this year, up in the valleys and up in the mountains, etc. This is going to be a breeding ground for a lot of problems if we don't get that forage grazed off and eliminate a lot of the fuel for those fires. What are your thoughts?
That's totally true. Totally true. And, I was in Elko yesterday and coming back, and I was down there Monday. But the puddles of water that are still standing down there on top of the mountains and all over is unbelievable. And the grasses, compared to other years, is unbelievable. And they should turn the cows out to save what they can at this time. Not just save the grass, because eating it down and everything, it's worth more when it's green to a cow than when it's dry. But they will eat the dry if they need to. But BLM, they haven't come forward and said, we got plenty of moisture this spring, let's open it up and graze. No, you don't hear that. All you hear is, we didn't get enough moisture this spring, and the grass isn't growing like it should. And so they take your grazing rights away. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen the way they work. I've met with BLM on these issues. And here's another one. I was watching the TV program last night, and after our conversation this morning, I figured out what TV program it was, and it was on that Idaho education station, and it was about the different kind of rocks in Idaho that you could gather that are worth money, a lot of money.
Right,
and it told about 6 or 7 different places, but it talked also about BLM regulations may put a stop to a lot of this hunting of rocks. People going out on public lands, and if it's you always hear, well, it's public lands. Okay, why can't I go out and pick up a rock?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what's going on, and it was on TV last night on their program.
Jack, you, of course, and this goes without saying, and most people know who you are, with a very well-deserved reputation of standing up for us, the taxpayers, the hunters, the fishermen, the ranchers, etc., and very antagonistic against that wolf reintroduction that took place back years and years ago in 1995. And it looks like every single thing that's done in the West today is against the property owner, is against the usage of land to try to make a living. And basically the enviros, the pro-wolf people, the pro-salmon people, the pro-take-your-water people and send it in a fish flush. Boy, we don't have very much of a ladder to stand on. They're cutting off all the rungs, aren't they?
They are. And as an example, with the wolf issue, they have stopped the Fish and Game from going into the Frank Church Wilderness area and putting collars on wolves and on elk and deer and stuff. That's the way they keep track of them. That's the way they know where they are, and they keep track of them. And it's unbelievable what's going on. And they say that that's a mechanical device, and it cannot hit the ground. It cannot land there. And the helicopter and the bullet that they shoot out of the dart is also a mechanical device. And if it misses the animal and hits the ground, it's a mechanical device, and it's against the law in a wilderness area.
Jack, you know, of course, that I know, of course, that you and your family are very, very close to nature and hunting and fishing, and you're pretty doggone proud of your grandson since he was a young boy with the duck calling on a national level, etc. A certain part of America, in my opinion, is at risk of dying forever. And that's the appreciation for the great outdoors, an appreciation for hunting and harvesting, appreciation to go fishing, and an appreciation just to get outside and enjoy our natural wonders. And all of this seems to be taken away, wanting to be taken away, by the environmental movement and a government that wants total control. Do you think that statement is overblown?
No, it isn't. And, as an example, you brought up that calling. So that leads me to one of my grandsons. That kid likes to protect what's out there. You know what he's doing? He's going to school now to become a veterinarian. And he likes to protect animals. And he knows that they have to be managed, and it's unbelievable that the way we get treated, and especially you brought it up in the West, it might be a piece of grass. It might be a bug. There was, I think it was in California, where they stopped a highway place going in because of a fly.
Right.
Some kind of a fly
Right.
that was going through there,
Right.
or lived there. And it was an endangered fly. But yet, when they wanted to put one of these things, like they got up there by Boise now, with all those panels up, they got an okay to do it, even though that was an area where turtles go.
That's right.
The turtles were endangered.
That's right.
If it is an environmental project, they got permission to do it. There's two sides of this thing, and we're getting had.
Let me ask you this, Jack, in the time remaining, and again, we've talked about this in the past. You have worked tirelessly to fight the wolves in the state of Idaho and come up with an agreement that would be acceptable by both sides. But quickly, and then we have a caller with a question, but how in the world can you make people understand that you can't do it all by yourself and you need help and people have to get involved?
Well, they do have to get involved. And when I started that back in the 90s, and I went to a lot of groups to get them involved. And it's unbelievable how many people will not get involved and the excuses they give you. And the Cattlemen's Association was one at the beginning, but it later got involved. But, take the sheep. Remember when I took the cameraman TV show?
I do.
To up there between McCall and Bergdorf?
I do, yes.
To view those 99 sheep that had been killed by wolves the night before?
Yep.
It was unbelievable.
Jack, we've got a caller with a question for you real quick, so stand by. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Quickly, please.
Yeah, Jack, you're about the same age I am, and you can remember Yellowstone as the way it was when we were young. What in the world has changed to change the balance of these animals? In other words, the Lord put these animals on earth. Some animals eat other animals, and that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's always going to be. But why are we trying to change the balance?
All right, we'll have him answer that on the air.
Who do you say is trying to change the balance?
Repeat that again, Jack, please.
I say, who do you say is trying to change the balance, them or us?
Well, us is who? I mean, you and I think, leave the animals alone and let them, the ones that eat the other animals, let them eat them. I mean, that's just the way the Lord put these things on this earth, is to balance it. Are we questioning whether the Lord is smarter than, that isn't smarter than some of these people who are trying to change it?
All right, well, I'm going to have to interrupt right here. And, Jack, answer that if you could. And I've only got 2 minutes left in this segment, so go ahead, please.
Well, the animals have to be managed. They have to be managed on your ranch. They have to be managed out in the forest.
That's right.
It was management that brought what we have today to give us the opportunity to have the hunting season and to go hunting.
That's right.
And so we have to manage them in some way, but we don't feed them. There used to be about 22,000 head of elk in Yellowstone Park. Today there's about 2,000.
Right.
And so have they been overmanaged by wolves? You can't hunt in there. So it's nothing but wolfly food. And you just talk to those people in that valley north of Gardner, Montana, and you will find out about management of wolves and management of different things.
Jack, let me interrupt you here and ask you one final question, and make it a short answer, please. I'm almost out of time. With this new administration, the Donald Trump administration, are you optimistic that things might change in a lean towards the sportsman?
Yes, I am. I was in Salt Lake to a sportsman's convention and here earlier in the year, and his son was there, and we talked, and one of the resource people that used to be on my Crapo staff is now been appointed by the Trump administration to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So here's a guy who is a hunter. He believes in all that, and he believes in management, and he thinks that we can get something done. Now, it's going to take more than one guy.
Yeah.
It's a start.
Absolutely.
And it's a positive start. And I just hope it keeps going. Trump's, both of his sons, just love to hunt and fish. They were in the Yukon hunting when Dr. Scott Allen was up there, and they had the same guide on their hunts up there as Doc Allen had.
You know, I'm going to have to interrupt you, Jack. I'm going to have to interrupt you, buddy, because I'm flat out of time. Again, my dear friend, Jack Euler from Filer, and he's done so much for sportsmen in the state of Idaho, and God bless you, Jack. I'm just out of time. Come back soon. The very best to you and your family, and thank you for taking the time to come on the program this morning.
Appreciate it. I hope that we answered a few questions.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. You take care of yourself, old buddy, and I'll be in touch with you. Thank you so much, Jack Euler. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we got to send this back over to our main studios. We'll be back in 3 minutes with more on Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back to our last half hour on Zeb at the Ranch for this Wednesday. And this is really going to be a treat for me because yes, Wheels.
Okay. I tried calling our guest. I
Yes.
just want to make sure I got the number right.
Repeat it.
Yes, sir. 208-545-1252. Does that sound correct?
Yes, that's the number that I gave you, my friend, and you're not getting an answer?
I'm not. I'm getting kind of like a tone that would sound like the old DSL kind of.
Okay, well, let's try. Deanne, if you're listening in the other room, you can try this number, 595. Did I give you 595 or 545?
545.
Try 595 prefix on that number and see what happens. Real fast, quick.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
All right. We're going to have, hopefully, Dusty Stanley on the program with us in just a moment, and with, of course, Stanley Premium Western Forage. And we'll have that number in just a minute. What number have you got, Deanne? She's got 595? Okay, I had a 545 there. And Wheels will get him on the line momentarily. Tomorrow on the program, being Thursday, don't forget we've got a lot of interesting people, including, of course, our Cassia County School Days and our business business salutes, along with the chamber report. We got a whole bunch of things. And it's time to grow with Tony McCammon with the University of Idaho. All of that and a lot of good things tomorrow on the program. Wheels, do we have our gentleman on the air? He's probably still trying to call him.
I do.
Very good. I said a moment ago, and I'll say it again, we are very pleased and fortunate to have this gentleman and his business be represented on our program this morning. They live just a little ways north of me, and I think they're one of the best kept secrets in the world because they are a worldwide company, and a lot of people here in the Valley don't appreciate what they have done and what they have earned as recognition worldwide for their superior products. Stanley Premium Western Forage. Dusty Stanley with the company as the CEO. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Zeb. Thanks for having us.
Well, I just think it's time for you to be on my program and talk a little bit about Stanley Products and the beginning and inception of your company. Give us a little background about Stanley Hay.
Okay. My father started the company in the early 80s and started shipping some 3-tie hay to the East Coast to some of the competition horses back there, and grew through the 90s, grew a considerable farm base, and serviced some dairies down on the East Coast with compressed hay. And then about 2000, we continued to grow our farm base and customers on the East Coast. We reached out into retail business and started exporting forage around the world in the early 2000s. I became involved in I grew up working on the farm, but I became involved right around 2000 in a bigger way. And, today, I think 2004, we started what we call our retail business. So we sell into retail stores like we would see D&B Supply local here, and we're sending premium forage into stores in every state in the country now on that side of the business. And then the export side, we do a lot of business in Asia, Europe, a lot in the Middle East. It goes everywhere.
Dusty, I'm sitting here taking this all in, and I got to admit that I saw on RFD TV a very, very interesting interview with a friend of mine, Clinton Anderson, the horse trainer from down in Texas, originally from Australia, as he toured your plant and talked about where you go, where you ship all of your premium products. I mean, did you have any idea, did your dad have any idea back in 1981 that you would assume this world status as far as supplying forage products all over the country?
Yeah, I would say it was a big dream for both of us. I don't think you ever totally know where you're going to end up, but I think it's been a big dream all along, and we know we still have a lot of runway and a long ways to go, and a lot of opportunity out there. But no, I would say, looking at where we're at today and where all of this forage goes, I probably wouldn't have dreamed of that in the 90s, that we would be, all over the world, and people, it's just an honor to be able to take care of people's animals and provide a premium feed, and our customers just really appreciate being able to have that product available to them year-round, and that's really what we do.
Let me ask you this, Dusty. What makes your products with Stanley Products so much better? Why are you at the top of the pile? Why are you the number one sought-after company for these Western forage products? What do you do right that really people want and need in their feeding programs?
Well, it takes all pieces of the business, but I think our roots growing up, at the farm level, understanding how forage is put up and really understanding what the consumers want and us being able to harvest that from day one, that goes a long ways because we have a good understanding of what they want, and we have our hands on it to where we harvest it. We do buy quite a bit across the state, but we also, we work with our growers, and we just know what the customers want and take care of that product and deliver what they need. And then it goes into, our employees and community and what we do with all of them. I mean, we just have a great team here that understands what we need, and it takes a lot of people to put all this together, and everybody cares every day, and we go deliver.
Let me ask you this part of it then, Dusty. When it comes to quality control and maintaining a high standard of everything the same going to the customers, whether it's in Asia or Texas or whatever, that must take some really knowledgeable people that work for you to make sure that everything remains in a line of consistency. Is that really hard to do?
Yeah, it is challenging when you look at some of the grains and different ag products. There's not a ton of variation in wheat or something like that. When you look at the forage business, we're trying to match up thousands of stacks that truly vary field to field and stack to stack. So our challenge is making sure that we match up all these stacks to provide a consistent product to our customers wherever that might be. So it definitely takes a lot of knowledge, and we've got a lot of people here that have worked many, many years. I mean, we've got some 25 and 30 years that have been with us, starting in the field and understanding it. So it is definitely challenging, but the team knows what has to be done every day.
Now when you talk about the team knows that has to be done every day, I mean, whether it comes to the initial cutting of the hay and the processing, the baling, and the manufacturing, if you will, of all the different products and the shipping, wow, what kind of a staff do you have over there? How big is your business right now?
So we're, in the summer we get close to about 400 employees. We do add quite a few in the summer. For the farm work, there's about 300 full-time company-wide. And it is interesting. There's probably 100 that work on the farms that put all that together in the summer. We've got a trucking division that does a lot of the inbound freight to our plants in Eden, Idaho, and Salt Lake City. And then a lot of manufacturing people where it's pretty interesting. A lot of people don't know what we do out there, but there's robots, there's a lot of automated equipment, a lot of neat stuff that makes all these things, and then just the outbound shipping network and loads going out it's pretty incredible also.
What about the products themselves? I mean, it's more than just a bale of hay. Why don't you quickly give us a synopsis of some of the products that Stanley offers?
So we do, pellets in different forms. We do grass pellets and, Timothy pellets, alfalfa pellets. Most people would be familiar with them in a feed store setting. Our bells are quite a bit different. The traditional 2-tie, 3-tie bell is out there, but we actually take it. It goes through a machine and is compressed. We do quality control as it goes across that press to make sure there's no contaminants or brown spots. Things are out of the bells, and then for us it's really a convenience thing. People want to have backyard animals. People want to take, obviously we're big in the equine side, but also just, goats, sheep, those backyard animals. We're seeing more and more of that. So these bells that we make are small, and it's really a convenience factor. You can take one of these bells or 3 of these bells and put them in the trunk of your car and not have a mess, and it's more dense, so it stores in a smaller area. So it's really convenience on that side. We also have what we call a chopped product, and we do chicken bedding in that. Very clean package, easy for bedding for your chickens. And we also do chopped hay or chopped forage for your backyard animals. Very clean, convenient package, similar to what you'd see in a wood shavings type package.
I see. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the development of foreign markets. You mentioned that you're shipping to Asia, Japan, etc. How in the world did you develop those markets, and how did you sign the contracts with these people? They didn't know you, you didn't know them. How did you develop all that?
Well, we got teamed up with an individual in about 2004 that is a partner with us here that had a lot of international experience. So that kind of came together with him, and he's been incredible to have on our team. And then, from there, at that time it was really, Japan was really the market. Since then, a lot of Asia, China, many other countries have came on board. The Middle East has became a main player for us, but it's really about relationships with those guys. We're constantly traveling to Asia. We got a couple people going actually here in about a week to visit some customers. I'm in China once or twice a year, Middle East once a year. It's really developing those relationships. That's what it's about, getting over and seeing them and knowing them. And here it's interesting, in the summer we'll have 2 or 3 people from Asia a week coming through the business just to inspect hay and look at what we have, and we're making our 2017, 2018 plans with them. So it's a lot of fun in the summer. We're out in the field showing them what we have and putting good deals together. And the best part is just the relationships. These international relationships just continue to strengthen, and they're an important part of our business.
Let me ask you this part of it, Dusty. I've been in the horse business all of my life, and I've been very lucky to have been selected to announce various venues at the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia in '96, and I was invited to Spain in 2001 to do the World Equestrian Games, and of course with my rodeo career, the national finals, etc. And it seems like there is a big growth in the horse industry across the entire world. Your business seems like it relies on the horse industry, and they go hand in hand for future success. Is that right?
That is right on. It's interesting. You and I are so close, just right down the road from each other, and I see where you've announced and been involved in some of those functions, and so, we're definitely in all of those areas. We actually supplied all of the forage down to Rio for the last Olympics this last summer, so that was neat. And World Equestrian Games we're involved in. There's a lot of those venues that you're talking at. We're very involved. We have trade shows at most, or trade booths at most of them. So. Interesting, Murtaugh, Idaho, and Eden, Idaho. We can be so involved in such a big and exciting industry.
I was really curious. I'm not much of a machinist or mechanic, but you must have, on behalf of Stanley Hay, had to have developed a lot of equipment that is innovative and just for your business. Who is the main person in charge of coming up with all these innovative ideas on how to use various pieces of equipment to further your business?
Yeah, I gotta say, it probably started with the roots. My father finding some of these markets and figuring out how to ship some of these products efficiently. In our business, obviously, efficient shipping is a big part of it. So, yeah, I think it's been ingrained in our culture to be innovative and moving, and I think it starts with him, and still today we sit around a table with a group of us and once a month, and we're talking about new products or more efficient ways to do things. I mean, it's really part of our culture, and I think it started with him back then.
What's the future look like for Stanley Premium Western Forage and Dusty and the whole crew? I mean, are you optimistic as to what's going to happen over the next decade?
We are. We're very optimistic. I see consumers, we're pretty equine focused. We're branching out a little bit from that. Still very focused in equine, but people want to have their own eggs. They want to have their own chicken. They want to have, their own meat and have a few animals in the backyard. So we're very excited and optimistic about taking care of those families or people that truly have those backyard pets and want the best for them. So, I just see the landscape on where this thing's going, and we're just very, very excited. There's a lot of runway for us, and we want to go help people take care of their animals with all natural premium Western forage.
I cannot wait. I'm going to ask you on the air if I can someday come over with my wife and take a grand tour, because here you are, basically my backyard neighbor, and we've never met each other or been on your property. I am excited to come over and take a look at this. And Dusty, I thank you so much for coming on the show. Dusty Stanley, CEO in Eden, Idaho of Stanley Premium Western Forage. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll look forward to shaking your hand.
Thank you, Zeb. I look forward to that also. Let's make sure we do that.
All right, sir. Thank you much. God bless. Have you back soon. Thank you. Really enjoyed having that gentleman on the air this morning, Dusty Stanley. And, it's true. Sometimes we overlook what's right here in our backyard. We have a company over in Eden, just literally a few miles from my place, that is known worldwide for having the best of premium Western forage, Stanley Hay Company. And there you have Dusty Stanley, the CEO, and it's really interesting. They have run, like I said, we saw a little bit of this on Clinton Anderson with RFD TV. He flew up from Texas, and with his huge horse operation, he took a tour and everything of Stanley Hay Company. And here they are, right here in the valley, and I don't think we appreciate the great business and business leadership that we have here in southern Idaho. We're going to have a weather forecast right now. Holy smokes, I'm running late. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, my goodness. They've got all the breakfast sausages, the bratwurst. I love bratwurst. Oh, man. I was born and raised back in the Midwest, Wisconsin. Brats, you got to have them. And, of course, all the buckboard bacon. They've got it all for you. Absolutely delicious meats at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Well, going to be warm and windy. This is your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. For today, looking like sunshine, highs around 93. Now, the wind is going to be a factor, looking for gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Then for tonight, mostly clear, lows around 55. Still going to be having that wind. Then for tomorrow, looking for sunshine, 87, and wind gusts around 21 miles an hour. For Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low of 54. Now, Friday, 20% chance of showers, maybe a little thunderstorms afternoon, partly sunny and a high near 74. And then for Friday night, still that chance of showers hanging around, a low of 46. Saturday, a small chance of showers and a high of 64. That's your 7th Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
There you go, Scotty. Thank you very much. Old Scotty filling in for Gina today. Thank you for a great weather forecast brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Hello, Don Scarrow. Oh, boy, I tell you what, all the meats over there delicious. Breakfast sausages, like I said, and you just got to stop in or give them a call or go to their website, www.scarrowmeats.com. Ooh, yes, delicious. And don't forget, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. I got time for a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. We would love to visit with you for a quick second if we could. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to have, of course, like I said earlier, Cassia County School Days, and I think that Debbie Critchfield is going to be the guest on that segment tomorrow. And we're going to be talking to Ark Animal Hospital. I think Dr. Bill, no, that's next week. We're going to have Mount Harrison Audiology on tomorrow. Dr. Christine Pickup for our business salute. We've got all kinds of other things, too. The Chamber of Commerce report, and, of course, Tony McCammon with It's Time to Grow, in addition to the opening segment where you are welcome with all your calls and phone calls and questions. So be sure and tune in tomorrow morning starting at 8:06. We can't let a program end without thanking our major sponsor, and they have been so diligent and so caring to help us for the last, 10, 11 years, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're doing the right thing matters. Absolutely. They have all your tires and all the different tread designs, all the sizes for your pickups, SUVs, cars, horse trailers, boat trailers. They've got them. All you have to do is stop in and see them today. And you know what? Ask them about the free pre-trip safety check. That's right. Visual inspection of your tires, including air pressure, wheel alignment of tire wear, front-end components, brake components, shocks and struts, batteries. I mean, they really want you to have a safe summer of driving. Stop in and see all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Absolutely the best. Nobody does it better than your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I enjoyed that visit with Dusty Stanley. I mean, man alive, they are a premium company with premium products, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call him later on this afternoon and try to get over there and have a walkthrough and see if I can't get him back on the air again. Thank you to everybody for your calls and your thoughts, and with warm weather out there, make sure you take along a bottle of water and hydrate. Man, it's going to get warm. They said it might get up around 93, 94 today. And we want you to tune back in tomorrow morning at 8:06 for the Thursday edition of Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we're very thankful to be on K-Bar 1230 a.m. and then streaming live on the Internet all over the world on ZebBell.com. But always remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Wheels, have a good day.